Hey, I'm back. This is a continuation of a video I've already done where I show my favorite horror movies in my collection. This is part 2 of the video. Um, I'm going to start off with a movie, well, a series of movies, a franchise that actually just had a remake very recently. So you guys can probably guess what that's going to be. And it's the Scream movies. This is the triple pack. This is got all 3 movies. I think the first one came out, what year did it come out? I think like 95, and then the other ones came out after that. It's got all 3 individual cases, which I like better than I don't mind if they all share a case, but I have to have them individual discs. But it's way better when there's the individual cases as well. And I got this online for a really good price. A lot of people don't like Scream because it came out and it kind of started the trend of those, teen horror movies that came out in the 90s. After this was, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend, and there's another one called Valentine that was like really bad. The further you go on, the worse they get. But the Scream ones I thought were really good. They didn't invent it, but they kind of brought back like the horror mystery genre where, because in Friday the 13th and Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even though those people wear masks, you know who they are from the very beginning. They explain who they are. But in the Scream movies, you never know who they are. You never know who the killer is. So it kind of keeps you in the movie because you're guessing the whole time. Also, so it's really hard to get bored when you watch these type of movies. I think it's really these are really well done. Wes Craven. I think after this he started to kind of go down with his movies, and I think that happens with a lot of directors. Him, John Carpenter, George Romero. Like, the further you go back, the better their movies are. The further you go on, their movies just kind of, I don't know what it is. I think they feel like they have to keep up with nowadays generation and modernize their movies, and it's not true. They could just stay doing what they used to do and it would be just as good. But the first one, if you haven't seen it, which if you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you've seen this, but it's about a killer, and he's like, the killer is really into horror movies, so he kind of kills people following the rules of horror movies. And he'll call you and he'll quiz you, most of the time that's what he does, and he'll trivia question you with like horror movie questions. If you get it wrong, he kills you. And he's just, the whole movie he's terrorizing this girl Sydney. That's the main character in the movie, played by Nev Campbell. And of course there's moments in the movie where they're trying to implicate people. Is it this person? Is it this person? And then there's the Sheriff Dewey, played by David Arquette. And it's also got what's her name? Jeez, what is her name? The girl from Friends, Courtney Cox. Jesus, and she plays Gail Weathers. She's like a news reporter, and they all work together to find out who the killer is and stuff like that. And there's always like a twist ending at the end of these two. And then Scream 2 was okay. It started kind of fun. It was an original opening. I think they copied something that was like that too, though. I think there was a movie that was like that called Don't Answer the Phone. That started like that, where like people sitting in a movie theater, and, stuff like that. But it was kind of like that. Anyway, Scream 2 is the same thing. Don't want to give away too much if you people haven't seen this movie, but it's the same plot, And then there's part 3, and it's the same thing, with different characters and a different killer. There's a different killer each movie. If you don't know that, well, sorry that I killed it for you, but yeah, the Scream 4 came out. I saw Scream 4. Scream 4 was actually, in the beginning, I actually almost walked out of the movie. A lot of people talk about the opening of the movie. I'm not going to say what it is, but I think with people it's going to be hit and miss. And for me, it was a real big miss. I thought it sucked. The opening for me really sucked. And I almost walked out, but then I realized how much money I had spent, and I hadn't been to the movies theaters in a while, so I decided to stay. And then it got a little better, and the killings were good, and one thing that was really good about it was just as violent and just as bloody as the other ones, maybe even more. So that was good, but it came off as a remake to me. It didn't come off like a sequel. Not a lot of stuff was accomplished in this movie. They bring characters in the movie that I thought, like, you just knew they were gonna get killed. Like this one lady, I knew she was gonna get killed, and it's like, why even have her in the movie? Just as a victim, that you might as well just call her victim in the movie. But anyway, I don't know if you can call these classics. I like them. And I'm not that old, so I wasn't even alive when the older classics came out. So to me and people my age and younger, these kind of are classic movies. But I like them all. Same thing, the further you go down, I think the weaker they get. But the original is really good. Part 2 is decent, and the third one is okay. So that's just Scream movies. And then of course is another classic that I didn't put in my last collection. And I think after watching these, or during watching these, a lot of people are going to say, wow, it's the same stuff. People show the same stuff. These are movies that everybody knows. I got some obscure stuff. I'm getting into the more obscure stuff is what I'm getting into nowadays. I just got a job recently, so I just started buying DVDs. I've never had a collection my whole life. And some of these are stuff that people bought for me, and they don't really know what to buy. So this is another classic, Friday the 13th, the first one. And the thing with me, like I said, since I wasn't born when these first came out, I actually didn't even know the first one didn't have Jason in it. I've known that for years and years now, but I'm saying when I first saw the movie, I didn't see the first one. And I always put Jason with Friday the 13th. Jason was Friday the 13th. So then when I heard about the first one not having him, I said, well, you can't have a Friday the 13th movie without Jason Voorhees. That wouldn't work. It would be kind of silly. And then when I watched it years back before I even bought this, I really liked it. And I actually think it is the best. It's the first ones are usually the best ones, but then some people just say that just because they feel like they have to say that. But I literally think this is the best one. It was done really well. The acting was good. It was a good original idea. And I really like in the end, even though you think, like I said, Jason goes hand in hand with Friday the 13th, but I really like I don't know who plays the Mrs. Voorhees, Pamela Voorhees in them, but when she comes to see the transformation she does and see how sadistic she is because she hates these counselors because her son drowned in the lake and stuff like that, and she shows up and at first